Since tomorrow is Mardi Gras, I thought I would make a quick gumbo today. It's going to be chicken, shrimp, and andouille sausage gumbo. You can see I have diced peppers, onions, and celery, the trinity. I have some okra, garlic, some Cajun seasoning and bay leaf, and a little bit of chicken stock. So let's get started. I have all of my mise en place staged right next to my pot, which I'm heating on medium-high heat. And of course, the first step is to prepare the roux. So I have equal parts of oil and flour, which I'm going to combine and begin to stir. And I'm going to stir this until it's combined. And I'm going to heat it on medium to medium-high heat until it achieves a dark brown color. We won't stir constantly, but we will stir regularly over the next 15 minutes or so while this darkens. You can see that this is bubbling and sizzling a little bit, which means that the heat is probably a touch too high. So I will back the heat down a little bit. I'll continue stirring and allow this to achieve the dark brown color that we're looking for. This is 5 minutes. You can see that the color is starting to darken. It's not quite as dark brown as I would like, and I'm going to continue stirring on medium-high heat. Even without time lapse, you can see the color start to darken. We're getting pretty close to where we want to be. As we get closer to the color that we want in our roux, I've turned the heat down to low, medium low, so that we lessen the danger of overcooking and burning the roux. I have been stirring more continuously now, and you can see that it is a good bit darker brown than it was when we started. I would still like it to be a little bit darker so that we have a nice rich brown gumbo when we're finished. This is what 10 minutes looks like. We're going to keep cooking a little bit longer. Here we are at exactly 15 minutes. I would call this medium dark brown. We could let it get a little darker if we wanted a really dark brown color, and we can also start to add our ingredients at this point, and then we don't risk overcooking the roux and having that bitter flavor that we want to avoid. I'm going to start by adding the andouille sausage. It's going to sizzle a little bit. So that's going to stop the roux from browning now, but it is going to give some color to the andouille, which will help to add brown color to the final gumbo. So we're going to let this sizzle for a little while on both sides. At this point, the andouille's only been in here for 2 minutes. Let's give it a stir and see what it looks like. You can see the roux is starting to, or continuing rather, to brown, but also the sausage has some nice brown color to it. At this point, we're going to add our diced chicken thigh. You can use breast if you prefer. I like the thigh because it's a little juicier in my opinion. We're going to let this simmer for a few minutes and continue to stir it a bit, and we'll pick up in just a minute. All right, let's give this a bit of a stir. It's been 2 minutes. Obviously the chicken is still raw, but you can see it is starting to brown and cook. And that's far enough along that we're going to add our vegetables. So first we have our Trinity, celery, onions, and green pepper. That's 1 onion, 2 ribs of celery, and 1 green pepper diced. And we're going to stir that in. Now that it's all combined, I'm going to cover it and allow it to sweat on low heat for about 5 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes simmering under cover, so let's take a look at it. Yes, it's simmering. We'll give it a stir. So an important thing here is you look and you see that while it is sauteing lightly here, it's not getting too dark brown, and you can see the chicken is still a little on the raw side as well, which is fine because we're still going to continue cooking this. We're going to add some garlic now. That's 2 cloves chopped up. You can add more, you can add less. I typically don't want to add less garlic. And I'm going to give that a stir. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning and a couple bay leaves. I'm going to stir that in. Next, I'm going to stir in 2 cups of chicken stock that I have. You're going to see that thicken, and we probably will add a little more liquid once we see where we end up here. Stir that in. You can look and you can see how smooth it is, which is pretty nice. We're going to allow that to simmer for a few minutes. You can see our gumbo simmering away here. It has been almost 45 minutes since I started to brown the roux, so we're making pretty good progress. The next thing I'm going to do is add 2 cups of okra. We are making okra gumbo, and stir that in. And you can see how thick that is. We're going to add 2 cups of water. Stir that in, and I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to simmer it for about 15 minutes to cook the flour taste out of the roux, to tenderize all of the vegetables, and to allow all of those ingredients to marry together. Our gumbo has been simmering for about 15 minutes now, and you can see it's really steaming. It's been just about an hour since I started browning the roux. So we're going to turn the heat down. We're going to give it a stir. If you look at the okra, it's not bright green, but it's still fairly green, and that means it needs to continue cooking a little bit until it's nice and tender. I like the overall thickness of the gumbo. We're going to add the shrimp now. You don't want to cook the shrimp for too long of a time, and so that's why we're waiting till the end here to add it. So we're going to stir that in. I did taste this when no one was looking, so I know we want to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, and I'm going to give it a shake of some thyme leaves. We're going to stir that in. And I'm going to cover it, turn the heat to low, and just allow it to gently simmer here until it's time to eat. If you've been keeping track of the time, you'll note that it only took us just a little bit over an hour to prepare this.